Got you another Holothorian too.
I saw another one before this, so up the count by 2.
Roger.
It's like 34 or something now.
Yep.
Nice.
We can probably end this line here, by the way.
Oh.
Yep.
End of line.
I started the, we haven't seen the motion yet, but we'll just put all the strange data in the turn file.
Got it.
You want me to start to change my heading yet?
Wait till you see the trajectory change and try to follow that with your heading.
All right.
It's a bit of a guesswork, but then we can at least reduce the yaw of the side scan smear.
Okay.
These all look like, who painted the scream? Edwin, somebody?
Bob Ross.
No, I don't think so.
We'll draw a happy little rock.
You made a mistake. It's okay. Make it a bird.
New York Times just had a great piece on where did all those Bob Ross paintings go?
Where did they go?
Well, he did 3 per show. He would do the painting before the show, then he painted on air, and then he would do a really nice one for the book or for use later. And Bob Ross Inc. holds them all. And they're just in like a strip mall in Virginia or somewhere, in boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. He never sold them. Wasn't really interested in it.
Is Bob Ross still around today?
No.
No.
No. He was young when he died too, like 56 or something.
So how many paintings is that?
I think he did like 28 or some amazing amount of seasons, and there's 31 or 13 episodes per season, 3 paintings per episode. So what's that, 5? It's on the New York, it's probably still on the New York Times site, and they did a video to accompany the article as well.
You said 26 seasons?
I'm guessing. I'm trying to remember.
Okay. Then that'd be 1,014.
That's a lot of paintings.
Yeah.
And it sounds like none of them are in private hands, or almost none.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, when I first got into the control van, I totally was wondering why, like, none of the chairs had casters, because it would have been so much easier to, like, scooch up to the table. And then, like, 3 seconds into the watch, I realized why that would be an awful idea.
Yeah, you can actually, they're a little tricky to find at times, but you buy, these are called pads, and you replace the wheels on the chairs with pads.
Gotcha.
The UW home vessel, I think, is on its way back. It just left Woods Hole not too long ago. Hasn't gone through Panama yet. But there's one chair on there, at least before the midlife there was. It had wheels, and we had taped them up. But it would occasionally go for a run around the main lab.
Yikes.
That's a super impressive vessel. You gotta go down and check that out by the Ocean Science Building.
Is it the
the Thompson?
Oh, okay. Because they just got their Rachel Carson too.
Yeah, yeah.
And that one I did get to tour really briefly.
Who gave you the tour? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head. It was at a Marine Technology Society mixer.
Oh yeah. I keep getting invites to the MTS mixer, where they invite industry people and students, and they have like poster sessions and stuff, but I'm always at sea.
Yeah, I keep meaning to like actually pay for membership for MTS.
You should. Big kudos to MTS, actually. I was an MTS scholarship recipient.
Oh, wow.
So
Yep.
once I mean, go for those scholarships.
And
they're great.
Through MTS, you'll probably meet Dana Maniling and Skip Denny, perhaps.
Gotcha.
if he's not fully retired yet. Just got a note from his son the other day, who's I've sailed with as well. Oh yeah, I was down here working. He said enjoy the territories. That was it. But he's probably assuming I'm on a different vessel, which is limited to territories.
Mm-hmm.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're global.
All over, worldwide. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to send those questions our way. It's just about 2:40 a.m. American Samoa time. We are on line 8 or 9.
I think we're just finished 8.
Just finished 8.
Does that sound right, Rennie?
What did I say at the beginning? We were on 8. Yeah, I think we're on heading to 9 now.
Okay.
Lucky
So-
9.
So we've crossed about 45% of our 2-mile search area.
Aren't we counting down? Would that be 7?
Yeah, sorry, that's just the number of lines that we've done.
Oh,
But
gosh,
the,
I'm
the
sorry.
line number that we're on, I could tell you if you'd like to know. That last line number was actually also 8,
That's
and this
what-
one
Okay.
is 7.
That's what I was getting confused at because I knew that we were on 8 as
Yeah.
well.
On line 7, which is our 9th line.
All right.
Has
Just to keep
happen
it
at some
simple.
point.
Oh, on the
That's-
nav screen, Argus just went for a short run.
Yeah, that's the bow thruster interfering.
Yeah.
Guess
Argus got teleported.
As long as it came back.
Respawned.
Yeah, what do they call that in gaming? The point at which players re-enter after an
Yeah,
point.
respawn point.
Yeah. I hate spawn campers. Nothing's worse. There's one tiny map on Call of Duty where there's only 4
He's doing
places where people
manual.
get spawned. And so pretty good odds somebody's standing there.
he's bringing this boat around manual.
The good old days of a slow off season.
You only have 2.5 more months before you get there.
No, there's no off season this year. We have work through the winter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because we're
Yep.
Keep an eye on that wire cam there.
is it
Yeah,
another
get
sea
multi-
cucumber?
It's not too bad. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, yeah, maybe, but we're trying not to go under the boat.
follow through
Yeah.
yet?
Yeah.
35.
Excellent.
It's not much choice we have actually with the tether situation because the winds picked up a bit, or they had and that's why we needed to change heading as quickly as we did. Yeah. What's that? The shadow's the goal. Green is our current position. So he stopped driving it manually and now he's driving by computer. When we switch over to the new DP control software, I'm gonna have to reorient my eyes on this where everything is on the screen. I'm so used to this display, and it's a computer I'm not normally in control of. So
Wait, is this new DP?
no,
No,
this
it's
is
the
old
same.
one. Yeah, but we're gonna switch over to the new DP control at some point.
Yeah.
The screen, I've looked at the screen, but I want to get a hold of the manual to try to.
Oh, right.
I'm used to where I'm looking on this screen. I think we all are. Ed, you know it well too at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get a training session together.
Yeah. Although I'm sure when they're entering a ship move, it's easy enough for us to follow along.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I look at for other stuff too.
I would.
Percentage of thrust, I looked at the wind.
Right, yeah. I mean, you would presume that most, if not all, of the information, especially, well, definitely the critical information,
Easily readable.
has to be. It's just a matter of where you're looking.
I know in one of the calls they talked about when we're going to throw in some testing of that. But I forget when it was.
There was some.
It's around Hawaii.
Yeah, I didn't know if they. Well, they already did some, but I don't know if they're gonna need any more.
That was on the way out of San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that I'm not sure if they're waiting for something for final switchover or just training. Yeah. Yeah.
So Argus is towing behind us, and Argus is using its thrusters, just not all of them, in addition to being towed. The reason why some of them are off is because it's provided some interference with our side scan sonar. Summer, any more riddles?
Summer is out of riddles. Sorry.
I've got one.
All right, Peyton,
Okay.
hit us up.
All right. Let me just collect my thoughts. I don't want to
Don't
Do
give
what
it
I
away.
did.
I don't want to pull
Pull
an
a Summer.
airplane. Yeah.
Airplane.
So Summer, you can. Well, it's fine for now, but on the other turns, we'll wait to be fully turned around like that because we're still going in this we're still going south.
Oh, I get what you
southwest.
mean. Now I'm like
See what I mean?
sideways. Okay.
And now you're like that way. Yeah.
You're full rudder.
Do you want me to turn back?
Standing on that rudder.
I didn't. Yeah.
I
Full
don't
rudder
know.
and full
I'll
aileron.
just face south. It's not.
Yeah.
Oops.
It'll just if there's. It just helps with whatever.
Yeah, I don't
side
really
scan
want to
we can-
fight it.
Yeah.
Also.
Or you could just take auto heading off and let it kite around.
That came over real quick.
Sorry.
No. It's funny to watch it.
All right.
Interesting to see.
I
I don't think the rudder's
All right, Peyton, we're ready.
All right. An airplane takes off and crashes. A man standing on the ground watches and knows that it was his fault. He has no communication with the plane whatsoever. Who was he?
Is he a pilot?
The
parachuted
pilot.
No, the pilot was on board.
Oh.
Is he an air traffic controller?
No.
He shot the plane down?
Nope.
He. Ooh. No communication with it. But was responsible for it going down.
Wait, so again, the plane crashes, the guy's watching it, no communication. Who is he?
Yeah. No
Essentially?
communication at the time of the crash, yeah.
The time of the crash.
It's a remote control plane.
No.
Ooh,
well, that
was a good one.
That was a good one. Is he a terrible drone pilot?
No. It is a manned airplane.
Did he fly a drone into the plane and make it crash?
No.
Is it anything to do with drones?
No.
I'm stumped. What do you think, Lonnie?
I'm stumped.
I missed the riddle. What was it?
I missed
He was
it as well.
he was the electrician that installed the incandescent light bulbs, and something caught on fire,
Wait,
and the
what's
plane
happening?
went down.
What is it? What's the riddle?
So a plane takes off and crashes. A man standing on the ground watches and knows that it's his fault. Who is the man?
The mechanic?
Yeah. I got that one from my theater teacher, but yeah, the solution is like, it's the mechanic, and he either intentionally or unintentionally broke components of the plane.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I got that on first guess?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're just really good at riddles.
I thought I hated riddles.
You love them now because of this one.
Well, Heather got it right too.
Good
Oh,
Heather.
nice.
See, I didn't know that my own sister was like a riddle extraordinaire person.
She might have been tricked by enough 13-year-olds to
Yeah,
like
maybe.
have a
Could've
pretty
been.
good database.
For
This
13
one's gonna bring a groan. Did you hear about the two spiders that fell in love?
No.
Is it
Oh.
Tangled
No,
Web?
I heard they met on the web.
Uh,
I say I knew.
Okay, that
Groan material.
Love groaners.
do spiders meet on their webs, or do they
I don't know.
go
It
meet
depends.
out on ground? Like,
There's-
do they approach each other's webs and they're like, all right, let's
that's,
make
Fight it out.
I don't know. I
like a
think
family or
if you
something.
were a spider, if you were going onto somebody else's web, it was either for a ruckus or another reason.
A bug.
There's the peacock spiders, and they dance. So they actually there's a bunch of different varieties, and they each have their own dance, and they wave their legs around, and they can also flare out their abdomen and wiggle it around.
Huh.
And there's a cool little study about as they wiggle around, they're actually making like a little song that can actually be picked up. Check it out on Science Friday.
How about the jumping spiders? They're scary.
Do they leave a line of web behind them as they travel? Or is it a different spider?
I'm not sure.
I used to not like spiders, but then I got stationed somewhere with tarantulas, and you'll get over that fear real quick.
There's a channel on YouTube called Deep Look that does really interesting like science videos, and they have a couple about spiders, but one of them was about black widows, and the females spend all this time like creating their webs, trying to catch insects, and the males, in order to get the females' attention, come along and completely destroy their webs. Like they cut holes in them to try and get the females' attention.
Well, there's payback.
And then they get eaten.
Yeah. I wonder why they got eaten.
Yeah. Those bad boy spiders.
I taught in North Carolina. I think it was 2000 and let's say 11. But it was when the earthquake hit the East Coast and damaged the Washington Monument.
Oh yeah.
You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
And I was on the second floor, and it was an open house night before the school year started. And all of a sudden, I was waiting for parents to come in, and I started feeling the ground shake a little bit. And I just thought it was a bunch of kids coming quickly down the hallway, and all these spiders started coming and dropping from the ceiling. And it was my little personal nightmare.
That is what nightmares are made out of.
Yeah.
Spiders falling out of the
Quite
ceiling.
a few of them
Oh,
were black
gosh.
widows.
Oh,
Oh.
They knew.
terror.
Yeah, they just crawled out of those ceiling tiles, and
During the earthquake or before?
it was right before.
Wow.
Right before. Because I didn't notice, and then I was like, what are all those things? It's endless spiders.
Coming towards your head.
Is it true that, like, I mean, I don't know, I'm not living in an earthquake zone, but, like, animals obviously probably can feel, like, do dogs go crazy right before, like, an earthquake happens?
We had a corgi when we lived in Alaska and in Seattle when there was a big earthquake, and I remember the dog doing anything different.
Didn't like run away or...
Yeah, I've heard the insects and things start running in circles. You watch the animals
Interesting.
During the
just before.
Some of the earthquakes we had, because of where we lived, right up against the mountains in Alaska, you could hear the rumblers. You could hear them coming, because the glass in the houses, when they shake, it makes a noise, and so you could hear the earthquake walking down, across the mountain or down the mountain to the house. But some of the earthquakes were just like a giant truck hitting your house, just wham. And those you have no idea those are coming.
I think I've only felt two. One in North Carolina and then one in Michigan.
The one that did like the most damage for us, where we lost stuff, was actually when we lived in the Seattle area. Threw a TV off a dresser and a bunch of cupboards open and stuff.
There was a science museum in Berlin I went to. It was Berlin. It's kind of cool. It kind of looks like a large metal clamshell opening up.
Yeah.
And they have on their top floor this earthquake simulator, and it simulates the different earthquakes from, I forgot, some like the most famous ones.
Yeah.
And it has some of them, even the audio recordings are the radio broadcast that's going during that time, and it does it for like the real duration. It's crazy.
The sound during an earthquake is really disconcerting. Like the shaking's bad, and what you're seeing, your brain almost
the
can't
ship's holding
process.
position here, right at the start of the line. I'm just waiting for Argus to get a little bit closer, so we don't swing into the line.
Roger.
I'll just be another minute or two, I think.
With that amount of movement, doesn't it kind of liquefy
It
the
could
ground
start,
to a point?
Downtown Seattle, yeah, it can liquefy. Yeah, absolutely. Especially as they built up areas. I was at the Anchorage airport once, and there was an earthquake, and they made an announcement that, you know, folks, we had an earthquake here. We have to run through our earthquake protocol to inspect all the runways and everything. It usually takes about 42 minutes, so just bear with us while we, I mean, like they had done it so often. It's new.
So for our viewer just joining us for an update as far as our Samoan Clipper search, we are on are about to start our 9th pass across the south end of our search area, about 2 square miles. We've identified 30 some odd dive targets or potential dive targets right now, and
Summer, have you felt like you've been making forward way over there? Yeah.
our current
So
plan
it's just slowly. Okay.
is to continue to go across this lawnmower style back and forth. We're traveling about 1 knot or so, about 15 or so meters off the seafloor,
Yeah.
and we found a few interesting targets. We don't have any direct obvious visuals or anything of that sort yet. We're still towing Argus. Hercules isn't involved yet. It won't be for a bit of time, depending on what we find. Oh,
Full wide.
we're going to continue to keep checking out, and hope you continue to keep watching with us and continue to submit questions as we explore. We're hoping to be the first that's able to broadcast and set eyes on the Samoan Clipper since the first time since 1938, 81 years ago, when it unfortunately crashed and sank.
What if they would have had intercoms on these aircraft, if the back of the aircraft could have talked to the front of the aircraft?
Oh.
Well, on this particular one, there was nobody in the back.
It was
So-
all cargo and everything, so.
That would have,
And the fuel was in Alpha,
I'm sorry, the fuel was what?
in the A compartment. The additional tanks.
What
for
is
this
the
model.
A compartment?
Oh, you weren't up for that part. Sorry, I'm confused on my watches. So I understand that, or no, the fuel would have been Delta. That there were different compartments in the fuselage, starting with A at the tail, then Bravo moving forward, then Charlie, then Delta. That's what I think Russ was saying on the last watch. And I think the fuel was right behind the cockpit. There was extra fuel tanks, the whole fuel
I think,
tanks.
so the cockpit area would have been, obviously the flight engineers area would have been directly behind the cockpit, and then those hull tanks were directly behind that compartment.
Right.
Correct.
And so everything aft of the fuel tank compartment would have been, on an SVD-42A, would have been the passenger compartment, but I don't know if for this they removed all of that.
They removed most of it, but they had a couple of bunks and chairs for the crew when they were off.
Bunks and chairs, okay.
But
And
there were
then-
7 on board. There couldn't have been 2, let's see, 2 pilots, engineer, radio operator, but the backup radio operator and nav, they would have been somewhere else. That gets you to 7,
Bridge
yeah.
nav.
Nav would have still been forward.
Yeah, there was a nav.
We can proceed
the
forward
chart
on this
table.
line, bearing 080, speed 1 knot.
Yeah, I suppose that there might have been a couple
Thank
people
you.
in bunks or whatnot.
Yeah.
Rest area just behind.
But probably for these operations of fuel dumping,
Yeah, they probably would have come forward.
everything, I think everybody would have been forward.
Because from, you know, the, we do firefighting training as part of going to sea, and trying to deal with that on a vessel is very difficult. I can't imagine an aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Megan, your fan club continues to grow as the carpenters are tuning in. with us
Oh.
as well.
Great. Thanks for listening. How's everything over there in Georgia?
I'm gonna guess hot.
It has been hot in Georgia this year.
Yeah.
My brother's getting married in outside of way outside of Atlanta, in like sometime in August 8th or something like that. forget
I
when.
got married outside of Atlanta. Well,
You
up in
did?
Dahlonega.
Oh.
I have to look at that email.
I live,
I'm obviously not going, but my wife and daughter are.
I live right outside of Savannah.
Okay. I went to UGA for my bachelor's.
Nice.
Yep. Great school.
I think this is our fourth year in Georgia. Going on, about to start number 5.
So we started the ship moving along this line, but Argus is not quite settled out into it, so it can still be turned.
Roger, thank you.
Current conditions in Georgia from Heather is hot and muggy.
Hot, muggy, ugh, gross. Well, sort of like here.
Apparently the carpenters will even be moving close to Heather.
Oh, that's great.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So were you from Georgia originally, or was UGA just the best program for you?
No, I am not from Georgia originally. I was from Ohio originally,
Okay.
but we as a family moved down to Georgia when I was like 10 or 12. So it's kind of like I'm from Ohio and
Mhm.
Georgia equal parts.
You're Ohio.
Yeah. But Georgia was where we were living when I went to college, so.
So they're getting married in Dawsonville, wherever in the
Dawsonville.
world that is.
Where's that?
It's,
Not a clue.
It's not too far from Atlanta.
Which way?
I believe south.
Oh, okay.
Could be wrong. Dawsonville.
Oh, I should look to see when it is. Oh, August 24th. That's a long time off.
But you'll still be on. You're on until October.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
going though. I won't be there. Might try and call in.
You could do a live interaction from to the
Yeah.
reception.
Yes.
You
I'm
give
also
it
missing a wedding on
toast.
August 24th. At,
Really?
yeah.
Must be a Saturday.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, August 24th. That's the day I went into the Army. How long ago was that? I have to use a calculator now to figure it out. It was easy up until the 90s.
Yeah, you were using an abacus back
Yeah.
then.
No, it was stone bits. I did divided. 2019. Yeah, 37. That's old.
Just back to the commo. For communication throughout the flight, they had 2 independent transmitters.
One commo is on the aeronautical frequency, and the other international calling frequencies of 500 kilocycles.
Huh.
Benny, will you tell me when we're starting the line with Argus?
Roger. I'll let you know, yeah.
Thanks.
See how it swings. I think probably once we, even if we're slightly off, once we
We
hit
in the last hour?
the line, we'll go with it.
Okay.
I have another riddle.
Yes.
Far away.
From yesterday, I couldn't remember the details, so I had to Google it.
Why don't you give it away and then tell it? It's much funnier that way.
All right, settle down.
Tell us a summer.
Oh, they have a name now.
This
She
is an
called
old
it
one.
pulling a summer earlier, so
Yeah, like, but I can only say it because
Yeah.
it's
she owns it.
funnier that way.
Summer probably
She
knows this one
owns it,
because
yeah.
it's an old one. It's about a man, a wolf, a goat, and some cabbage
Negative.
in a river.
She does not know anything.
Is this
about
getting them all across the river with the boat thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, tell
Yep.
it. Tell it.
So
If you know the answer,
Not gonna
don't
say
say
it.
the answer.
All
it's
right.
not a real straightforward answer either. It's kind of a Rube Goldberg answer. So a man has to take a wolf, a goat, and some cabbage across the river. His rowboat has enough room for the man plus either the wolf or the goat or the cabbage. If he takes the cabbage with him, the wolf will eat the goat. If he takes the wolf, the goat will eat the cabbage. Only when the man is present are the goat and the cabbage safe from their enemies. All the same, the man carries the wolf, the goat, and the cabbage across the river. How does he do it?
Do you put the cabbage in front of the goat and it pulls you, and then have the wolf pull and chase the goat?
He takes them he has to go take them one at a time in the boat.
And you can take, in this one you can only take one across the river at a time?
We can go ahead and say
Can
this
you
is
just
the
do
start
3
of
trips?
the survey.
All right.
This
And
is
then,
Yes, he does several
Thank you.
trips.
yep.
Is that the answer?
the start of line.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the answer.
Start a line in summer. I guess we can start to come around it.
I question
Okay.
the logic. There's only room
80.
for one cabbage or only room for one wolf. That doesn't make sense.
It's a big
Correct.
cabbage.
Yeah, it's a big cabbage.
It's a
And why does
huge
he have a
cabbage.
wolf anyway? And
It's
why
some-
hasn't the wolf eaten the guy yet?
It's some cabbage, not a cabbage. So it could be like a bag of cabbage or a bale of cabbage.
Or an Alaskan cabbage.
Why doesn't the goat eat the boat? That's the real question.
It's a Dr. Zeus riddle here. Actually, that is in the book, isn't it? I would not, could not on a boat. I would not, could not with a goat. I will not eat Greek eggs and ham. Sam, I am. All right,
has to
spot the
take
guy
them
who
all in
lives
one
with the
trip?
3-year-old.
What's that?
Did we already solve this and I wasn't paying attention?
No, he can only
Uh,
take one at a time.
Can he just take the goat first?
He could, but he doesn't.
Because
Can't-
that would leave
yeah.
the
'Cause
cabbage
then-
and the wolf on one side, and they would be fine.
Right, because they're not going to eat each other. Unless the cabbage has a...
Unless the
you're
cabbage
onto
eats
something.
wolves.
Does the
So
wolf
take
eat?
the goat first.
The problem is
Hungry
if he
plant.
took the
Yeah,
goat
yeah. Then
he
you got
took
the,
the
other
goat
side.
first,
Yeah.
and left it there,
All right.
then what's he going to bring across next?
Right,
Either the
right.
cabbage or the wolf. If he
Right.
brings the wolf
Wolf.
across next,
Wolf will eat
wolf's
the
going to
goat.
eat the goat. If he
Right.
brings the cabbage across next, goat's going to eat the cabbage.
Just for the record, I know the answer, but I'm not gonna say.
But we're waiting for Heather to
Does he
come
have
in
to
with the
be-
answer.
Nah, see, I'm
Does
gonna.
he have to be in the boat? Can he stay on shore?
Yeah,
and
he's
just-
he's
and send
in
the
the boat.
cabbage off by itself.
This is so it's like an order of operations
Says that
question.
in the beginning. He's always in the boat.
He's always in the boat.
Isn't the
Yeah.
clue
A
here
Viking funeral for the
The
cabbage.
goat eats the cabbage, the wolf
as long as
eats
he's
the
present?
goat,
His rowboat
and then it makes one trip.
His rowboat has enough room for the man plus either the wolf, the goat, or the cabbage.
And he has to get them all across.
He does get them all across.
Okay.
And then while the man is on this same shore as the other animals, they don't eat each other.
And what does he do once he gets them all across? What's the point of having all three of these?
There's always that guy that argues the riddle. Just let the riddle, the art of the riddle, do
Just
what
let
it
it
does.
stand on its own.
Just baffle you.
If there was a point, it wouldn't be a riddle.
Exactly.
That's right.
Riddles are pointless. Most of the time.
Well, you need
Unless
more
you're bored
information.
looking
Did
for a
the boat
boat.
have incandescent
All right.
or LED bulbs?
That used to fly.
Anybody still working this one?
Yes. Is it an order of operations question, or is it something out of left field?
It is an order of operations. So I can give you a clue. If you,
Everybody use please
If
excuse
it
my
do-
dear Aunt
You already
Sally.
gave
If
a
it won't
clue.
give it away, give a clue.
what's that?
You already gave him a clue.
I did give
Yeah,
him a
you
clue.
said it was a Rube Goldberg solution.
I don't know what that means, so that's not a clue for
Oh,
me.
really?
So one thing causes another.
Rube
which
Goldberg
causes-
machine is something that does a simple task in an overly complicated manner.
Yeah, like you
So
seen
it's
it,
like
a video of a marble going.
Yeah. Something knocks over a card, and a card
Oh, it's
goes
like-
down here and
alright.
knocks something over.
Domino effect.
And the end result is that it makes a piece of toast.
Rube
That's
Goldberg
Rube
would have been
Goldberg.
a way to get a goat, a wolf,
Yeah.
and some cabbage across the river in a
Yes.
rowboat.
Okay. In a rowboat.
I had to build one of
Does
those
the type
for
of boat
physics.
matter?
Yeah.
No, it's purely the order of
Alright, operations.
operations. The brain teaser.
Oh, I know it. I know.
Oh, what if
He takes the goat over, and then, but then he takes the
Cat.
wolf over, but
Who
he takes
eats
the
the goat?
goat back, and then he takes the cabbage over, and he goes back, and then he takes the
Ah.
goat, and then that would solve it.
Oh, you almost had it there.
That
Say it
is-
again.
so the,
You bring
the
the
goat
goat over,
go back empty?
you go back, you bring the cabbage over, then you bring the goat back, then you bring the wolf over
Leaving
with
the goat
cabbage,
behind.
leaving the goat behind. So now you have the wolf and the cabbage on the other side, the goat's on the old side. Then you go back for the goat and bring it over.
Bingo.
You got it.
Yep.
That's
Is that it?
good.
Pretty much,
Nice.
yeah.
2 of our listeners just got it as well.
So the wolf doesn't eat the cabbage, so the crossing can start with a goat.
Yeah.
You have a hard time with those things where I don't buy into the premise. When I was doing
There's always that guy. You
when I
know?
was doing my dive master course, when you're learning the physics of diving, some of the questions are like, you find a boat engine in 68 feet of seawater, and it occupies 2.7 cubic feet, and you need to fill your airbag with how much air to make it neutrally buoyant. And I'm like, A, it's not my engine. Why am I taking it? B, how do I know it occupies 2.7? They come with an owner's manual? And what owner's manual tells you how much volume something takes up?
You brought
And
a
then-
ruler and a calculator.
And then why would I make it neutrally buoyant? I'm going to put enough air in the bag until it lifts. Now I'm done.
You should see
But
the manual
I-
to my graduated cylinder then.
But I know how to do the math. It's just the logic they try and come up with to make it a realistic-ish question. That was very frustrating for my teachers. My teacher in high school, I think it was a geometry class, and this is back when I was dumb enough to say, why would I ever need to know this? And he drew an outline, like a floor plan of a house, like hastily on, I think it was a chalkboard back then, and put rough measurements in. He's like, okay, this is your house. You need to buy carpet to put in this house. Tell me how much carpet you need. I said, well, that's easy. I call the carpet store, and the guy comes out and measures. And he's like, well, that's not how it works. You have to, And they made me work through this whole complicated thing just to embarrass me in front of the class. Every time I bought carpet, I've called up the carpet store and the guy has come out and measured. I
Never pre-measure just in
I
case.
just bought carpet yet again. And the dude comes out and measures, and then they install the carpet.
You need to switch over to hardwood flooring. You won't have to buy
Not
carpet
that you don't
so
need
often.
how to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
just
the
did
answer
that
to the
too.
riddle.
Yeah, just did that. We put, long story. I know how to compute the area of a rectangle and incongruent shapes, but that was a horrible example.
There's an app for that now.
Yeah.
This
Hell,
is
my
a freaking
laser measure
camera.
can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to have a calculator around with you all the time. Sure am.
And a bill to go with it.
Yeah. Flooring's not inexpensive. They got new flooring down in the quads.
They do. There's carpet last time I was in.
Carpet's gone.
Layback is currently 280 meters.
280. Halfway to where we normally are.
Yep.
Any questions from viewers?
Hello, viewers.
It's just a whole lot of guesses about goats. Please go ahead and give us some questions about our search for the smoke clipper or anything you might be interested in.
Yeah.
36.
36. For those of you playing the home edition.
I wonder if any of the viewers are related to any of the crew that were on the Samoan Clipper.
Hey,
We actually have someone aboard who's related to Captain Music.
Really?
That's right.
Rebecca.
Yeah. Rebecca.
Yeah.
Rebecca Whiffler?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just happenstance?
Yeah.
Complete
Yeah.
happenstance.
It's just total coincidence that she's on this cruise.
Yeah.
How did she, I mean, is that something she's known her entire life?
Her parents were very excited when she told them that she was going to be on this cruise, and they sent her the genealogy.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is
apparently
awesome.
she was telling this story. She was like, yeah, I just told my parents, oh, I'm going to be like looking for Ed Music and like his crew. And her parents were just like, oh, well, we're related to the Music family.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
That's crazy.
So,
Did she say how?
Yeah, she showed the genealogy.
yeah, it's
They
like
had a
through
common ancestor,
Yeah,
but who was
like
close.
great grandfather.
Yeah. Whiffler, though, that's a recent. Her family is music very close. Like
Oh,
recently.
I see. That's probably why it was so.
Well, Music and his wife didn't have children. So it had to be a sister.
Yeah.
Went down through the female line.
Small world.
Well, that goat ended up on a farm, you know.
Yeah. Upstate.
And there are a couple guys wandering around the farmyard. They saw a well. Well, we wonder how deep this well is. I don't know. Let's find something to drop in the well to see if we can figure out how deep it is. So they saw an anvil. They picked it up, dropped it in the well. Suddenly a goat came zipping through the barnyard and down the well. And the worried farmer came and said, "Have you seen a goat around here?" And they said, "Yeah, he just came zipping through here and he's down the well." And the farmer said, "That's impossible. I had him tied to an anvil."
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I should have told it faster. So you could hear.
The Wile E. Coyote joke.
That was good. That was really good.
Okay. Well, somebody's turned the camera, so that's a good sign. Okay.
The tragic part about that story is that's a $1,000 anvil.
Lonnie, any more Samoan clipper facts? Let's do some Samoan clipper
Yeah,
facts.
let's get back to the Samoan clipper.
Well, we keep hearing the name music, and you've gone through the crew list before, but if you wouldn't mind going through it again, the names of everybody on board.
Sure. Well, as we know, the captain was Captain Edwin Music, fondly known as Uncle Ed, famous in the Pan Am organization for being their chief pilot. One of the founders of the transoceanic routes, done surveys, had more than 13,000 hours of flying experience, 2,320 in trans-Pacific operations, 502 hours in the Sikorsky 42B in transatlantic operations. He had won the Harmon Trophy for being the world's outstanding aviator, and he had more flying honors and records than anyone else. He was an all-star pilot. His first officer was Cecil Sellers, who had a federal transport pilot's license and had 6,000 hours, 464 hours in trans-Pacific ops. The junior flight officer was Paul Brunk. He had 1,922 hours, 125 hours in trans-Pacific operations. The navigation officer was Frederick McLean, who had been the Eastern Division navigation instructor from 1935 to 1939. He transferred to the Pacific Division and had 524 hours as nav in Trans-Pac Ops. The radio officer, whose jacket was found, was Thomas Findley. He had 765 hours as radio officer in Trans-Pacific service. He had a radio telegraph license with endorsement for radio phone operator. This was an all-star crew, as you can see. We had flight engineer John Stickrod, who had his airplane and engineer's mechanic license and 650 hours in this plane. Assistant flight engineer John Brooks, who had his airplane and engine mechanics license. He had just transferred to flight duty and was assistant mechanic on this flight, but was to be chief mechanic after the flight, chief flight engineer. So all these men were well known, very well experienced. They had all passed their medicals, all in good physical condition.
What ages were these gentlemen? I think the captain was 43.
Yeah, they were all fairly young, had young families. And I know Brooks, for instance, transferred to the flight because he wanted to spend time with his family in Honolulu on the way back. And there's a picture of him with 2 young children. So, you know, they were all young men, pioneers setting out to do things that no aviators really had done before. Charles Lindbergh was their one of the tech advisors to Pan Am.
And he helped design this aircraft as well.
Right.
So the jacket that they found, does it go into any detail on what condition it was in? Or just that they found the jacket?
I didn't read anything about that, just that it had his name on it, you know, the Pan Am logo.
And so there was a jacket and a pair of pants found, and it was always kind of
odd,
difficult and odd to think about what would separate somebody from a jacket or a pair of pants. But what we were able to find out, Russ and I, when we went to the San Francisco Museum and talked with the curators there and the historians there, was that often these Pan Am was such a sort of marketing-faced company, and they really wanted to put forward this maritime culture marketing sort of front face. And so they had, even on these mail runs, they had all of their all-star pilots and crew members dress up in immaculate, condition to set sail. And then when they would probably immediately after taking off, they would change their clothes into coveralls and other outfits like that. So it's quite possible that these items could have just been laid to one side.
Exactly.
That would seem so, but the fact that they were found would indicate that they opened the door on the plane, the sea door,
No,
or
I think
that
it's
it would
because
have that it would have broken up.
yeah,
and
stuff
opened up.
aft of the compartment D would have opened up.
Right. So if we're talking that it had a series of 6 hull fuel tanks, those fuel tanks would have been in between compartments. Those fuel tanks would have been directly behind a compartment where a lot of these individuals were and probably kept some of their things. So if you had an explosion, it would have almost certainly ripped through that bulkhead wall into this area, and that would have been exposed.
Right where the navigator
Right.
was. Mm-hmm.
If there was an explosion, but there was.
The explosion was heard.
They heard an explosion.
Yes, they heard an explosion
okay.
was reported.
Yeah.
You know, and if your airplane catches on fire, you dive to try to put it out with the air, with the wind. And so one of the sensational newspaper, I don't know if it was the San Francisco Chronicle, something like that.
San Francisco Examiner.
Examiner. Their headline was an artist's rendition of a plane with flames coming out of it, diving into what they said was a sea of sharks. So talk about sensationalism.
Right.
But
Was there more than one eyewitness that heard the explosion, or was that
No,
confirmed?
it was one eyewitness. The same eyewitness said basically that she saw the flight come overhead. She saw what she thought was smoke coming from the wings, but then she said she smelled gasoline, so the Bureau of Air Commerce report said that she probably saw the gasoline being
Vaporized.
the vapors, yeah.
vaporized. So she said that about these 10 or 12 miles out, she saw it take an immediate dive, and then once on surface, a flash of light, and what she heard was an explosion. And then the wings were visible for about 5 minutes, and then it sank.
And black smoke. And then,
Black smoke,
yeah.
But yeah, that's the only account that we have. But judging by the materials that were left behind at the actual scene, and then I think that 2 doors washed up on an island northeast of here a couple days later.
Icebox doors.
Icebox doors. So we know that there were interior items.
Exposed. To
Yeah, so we know that there was an event that caused the interior to be open.
And things to the aft were burned and forward not.
Correct.
So some of the items they found had evidence of
Of charring.
charring.
Yeah, but those items were all to the aft of where the fuel tanks would have been. Everything forward of the fuel tanks that they found in the compartments forward of the fuel tanks showed evidence of heat, possible heat exposure, but not actual charring.
Now,
And
Russ, sorry,